Konnichiwa, Kawaii Critic here to review My Little Pony Season 6, Episode 10, Applejack's Day Off. Now, it seems that I'm unprepared. I better go through that schedule that I conveniently invented only a few minutes ago. Well, time to do some really quick editing, quick cuts, and bad stuff. Woo! Step 1. Recite mantra. Lie to try to get a job. Cheat at video games you beat. And try to steal that very special pony's heart away. Step 2. Do bad impersonations until someone else tells you otherwise. Impersonation number 1. Papyrus from Undertale. Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. I am the great Papyrus here, doing voices of other characters really soon. Character number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, from Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Gotta spin and win. Gotta juice. That's no good. And impersonation number 3, Agumon from Digimon. Agumon, Digivolve to Greymon. Alright, that's a warm-up for step number 2. Step number 3, remember to always keep it kawaii. Oh, and remember to do that at the outro too, because, gotta prep. So yeah, remember kawaii, to keep it kawaii. Kawaii, kawaii, kawaii. Anyway, back to the episode. We see that Rarity is trying to get Applejack to take a day off, but she is just simply too much at work and is overburdening herself with the amount of work she does. So Twilight comes into the rescue with Spike to become farmers. Now, I don't know why, but that made me almost think of The Walking Dead when Rick and Carl try to become farmers, and then they couldn't quite do it because of the zombies. I honestly don't know if that's a reference to The Walking Dead, but boy, that is quite fascinating that I pulled that reference out of this episode. I mean, the episode itself is pretty bare bones, and pretty straightforward, as once Applejack goes to the spa and we get to see more of it, we see that there is an issue with the spa itself. So Applejack, instead of taking care of herself, decides that she's going to help these other ponies and solve the problem, while Rarity just sits back, relaxes, and she takes a break. And it takes a little bit longer for Applejack to sort of get through to the problem. It probably would have been a bit better if the episode cut back to Spike and Twilight a bit earlier, somewhere in the middle, while Applejack was trying to figure out what was going on. That probably would have filled that time where Applejack's sort of just running through the place and trying to figure out what was wrong. Other than that, the other references and jokes are just okay in this episode. Nothing too spectacular, and one of them being kind of freaky at the beginning, but other than that, there isn't really a standout moment for me in this episode. It's pretty straightforward, and Applejack learning that her herself is doing all these extra steps in order to make her farm suitable is something that doesn't really resonate with me personally, but I can see where they're coming from. And Applejack does seem like the character that would go through all these extra steps to do something very simple. Me, I'm more sporadic, but that's for another time at another place. Other than that, we get references to Twilight being Mission Impossible Tom Cruise style, as she sort of swan dives into the pig pen almost with the rope, and then is dangling there, sort of like Tom Cruise would be doing. Uh, Again, the joke there being kind of okay, or the reference being okay ish. I mean, she is a magical princess, and she's deciding not to use her magic. It's a bit silly in it of itself, of the situation. So when she actually does do this, it's kind of like, oh well, she's already deciding to do something a bit silly, so, eh. Other than that, I gotta say, this is definitely the weakest episode this season. I think it could have helped by splitting itself a bit more apart, as the stuff at the salon, or massage place, I should say, does really just drag on the episode far more than it needs to have been. I would have probably liked to see what the actual more shenanigans of Spike and Twilight getting themselves into, rather than just waiting to see, or waiting to have Applejack discover what the problem is. It just takes too long, and there isn't really much else going on. And I don't know what other references they were trying to make when Applejack put on her suit. It's either, for me, the two I came up with was either Bob the Builder or Fix It Felix. I don't know why. Again, references. I guess you can have different interpretations for different things. So yeah, there's that. Um, what else? This episode is just so short. There isn't really much else to say, which makes filling up a normal review incredibly hard. So, I would hope that for future episodes, they keep it more quick paced, as slowing down the pace in an episode like this really bogs it down. Well, I guess that's that. So, with that being said, I'm Kawaii Critic, and remember, guys, to keep it kawaii.